Rose. Welcome back to my channel. I am really excited about today's video. I have been spending a couple days in the parks with a service dog team, and I have gained a lot of insight and knowledge and just become more aware of things, and I really wanted to share some of that knowledge and information with you. We're also going to sit down with the service dog team, get to know them and get their experience, and just provide insight on service dogs in general, especially at Disneyland, because I feel like there's a lot of things that if we're just a little more aware and just pay a little bit more attention, everybody's experience can be a lot better at Disneyland, and that's the ultimate goal here. So I'm gonna first start off with some general service dog insights if somebody were to bring a service dog to Disneyland. Now, the first thing to be aware of is security. You do have to let the security team know before you go through security, before you get into the parks, that you do have a service dog, and they'll ask you a few questions, and once you get through that, they'll take you around the service dog that they have through security, just so you'll bypass that and then just go through security in general. Another thing to be aware of is the DAS pass. You may already be aware. I'm not going to go in full detail, but I highly recommend, if you do qualify for the DAS pass, take advantage of that, because that allows you to skip the lines, or at least waiting in the lines, so you can spend more time getting the best out of your Disney experience. Now, for the rides, any ride that doesn't have a minimum height requirement, so pretty much any ride that little babies can go on, the service dog can accompany on the ride. However, for other rides, there is the crates. So they do have crates that they clean in between uses, and you can put the service dog in the crate and then go on the ride and come back, and a cast member will stay with the dog as well. If you do want to ride any of the rides that don't have a minimum height requirement and don't wish to bring the dog on the ride, you would have to do a rider swap with somebody else in your party. So just be aware of that for the rides. So on Disneyland's website, you can find out where the service dog relief areas are, as well as which rides the dogs cannot go on. So that information is pretty readily available. I'll link it below as well. So now let's go ahead and meet the service dog team. Now I'm here with the service dog team. Why don't you take a minute and introduce yourselves?
Hi, my name is Mary, and this is Shenanigans, who kind of wants to escape right now.
Yeah, it's been a long day. We've been here a couple days. So tell me a little bit about your partnership.
So my mom breeds and shows dogs. She started with Labradors when she German showed her pointers, and then we got into standard one-pair Dachshunds. And our first one was Lexi, and she gave birth to one child, and that is Shenanigans. I've had Shenanigans since she was a month old, and I'm the human that's had the most contact with her. She started alerting naturally to some of my medical issues, and I was able to then work with obedience on her and train her how to be in public and how to behave, and we've been a team ever since.
So really, you've trained your own service dog?
I did, and it's actually more common than you think.
Okay.
I think it's slightly better. I think if you're going to be a part of a service team, unless you're very specific, like a hearing dog or a blind seeing eye dog, if you're able to train as much on your own or as a team together, even if you go through your program, it provides the best connection between you both, and it lets you have more customized ability.
So have you been to Disneyland before?
So I have personally...
Someone just wants to know.
She likes to vlog. I have personally been to Disneyland a few times in my life. This is my first time with a service dog and being disabled, though. No, you may not have the duck. Leave it.
So we had to relocate, but we're going to go ahead and continue the interview. I was going to ask, what were your biggest concerns coming to Disneyland?
My biggest concerns were accessibility for both me with a wheelchair and me with a service dog in a wheelchair, and crowds. When it comes to the crowds, the cast members, I figured, would know kind of what to do. Disney is very big on service animals being accessible here, but everyday people don't really know service dog etiquette.
Mm-hmm. So what were the biggest challenges that you faced on the trip?
Crowds were probably the biggest challenges, and there was a few times when service dogs that weren't behaving very well, we had an issue with that, and trying to navigate after the fireworks and the fireworks itself. She has been around fireworks in the neighborhood during like 4th of July, but it was her first time actually seeing fireworks up close, and I was very proud of how she handled it.
And Disneyland fireworks are a little bigger than your normal everyday shindig.
Yes.
So based on your experience, how well did Disney facilitate your needs?
The cast members have been absolutely phenomenal. One of my favorite parts was last night during the parade at Okie Boogie, when the gravediggers came by with their, I almost said swords.
Shovels.
With their shovels, just as good of a weapon.
Yeah.
One of them noticed and didn't scrape because they noticed she was spooked, and then he communicated to the rest of the gravediggers, and none of them did it.
Awesome. I love the gravediggers. They're amazing. So then, what's the #1 thing that you wish people understood about service dogs?
That service dogs are not pets, and even if it is a pet, when you approach a dog, you should always ask permission and use caution. But a service dog is always working actively, and interfering in any way can actually cause a major health problem for the person they are working for.
I definitely know that's something that I've come to learn as well, so we can all be just more aware and more courteous. So what are your top 3 tips for service dog teams coming to Disneyland?
My top 3 tips are booties, because sometimes it gets slick with the different water rides and everything, but also if it's hot on the pavement and all. So if it's 80 degrees, it's always 10 to 15 degrees hotter on their paws. So boots are a must. Know where your potty spots are. Potty spots are very important, and also with that, make sure you bring baby wipes and lots of poop bags. Glow sticks or things to illuminate your dog, not just reflective, but actually make them light up. Light up collars are great, rechargeable glow sticks. Find ways to attach them to their actual vest, because it makes them way more visible at night, which is much easier to navigate through crowds. Also, if you have any equipment with you, like a walker or wheelchair, you also will want to light those up as well. Bonus tip, I would definitely recommend having earmuffs for your dogs for the parades and for the fireworks, and World of Color. Just varying sounds can be a little too much for them. Even as a human, there was sounds during the parade last night that was too much for me.
Any quick notes you have for people who see service dogs?
So the 2 biggest things that you want to look out for is, 1, make sure you are always reading the patches that are on the vest and on the leash and collar. Also, if you ever see a service dog without their handler, follow the service dog, because 9 times out of 10 it means that their the handler is down and needs assistance.
That is something I didn't know, but definitely something really important to keep in mind.
Yes, most people do not know that fact, and you could save a life by helping out in that manner.
So if anyone wants to follow you on social media or ask you further questions on your Disney experience, where can they find you?
So I have 2 Instagram accounts. My personal one is MKGamerGirl, and it's GRL instead of GIRL. And then for shenanigans, it is lowercase s, shenanigans _the_service_woof. And I will make sure that I give the information, so it will be linked down below.
Yeah, I'll link it down below. But thank you so much for sharing your experience.
Yes, and please, at least on Shenanigans account, let me know if you have any questions. I am all about providing more information and providing support to other spoonies like me.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of your Disney visit.
Yes, and you too, and thank you for having us.
Absolutely.
We used to have a woof day to you too.
One final experience I wanted to bring up is one day when we were coming into the parks, there was a service dog showing improper behavior. So the dog started to bark and attack, and that just isn't something that a service dog should be doing. Disney security was really quick on picking up on it, and they quickly escorted the dog off the premises. So I'm really glad to see, and not that I'm surprised, because Disney does a great job with just everything in general, but it's just something that I had never experienced before, because I've been to Disney a lot over the past couple years, minus the black hole of a year and a half, but I've been here a lot, and I really haven't seen a lot of service dogs at all, so I haven't been able to see any of that additional perspective. So was really glad to see that Disney was on top of it. Now, one thing I think we can all work on a little bit, I know myself as well, is just to try to make less assumptions. Just like everybody is different, there are different types of service dogs, there are different breeds, different sizes, so just keep that all in mind and assume that every service dog you see is active and doing its job. Now let's try our best not to distract those dogs, because they all have very important jobs. Just like we wouldn't distract a bodyguard, or we wouldn't distract a nurse or somebody who's caring for somebody else, I feel like service dogs are exactly the same. So we all need to be more aware, and especially at Disney, we're not used to seeing dogs, so it's really easy to all be focused and not be fully aware of our surroundings. So let's all try our best to work together, make everybody's experiences that much more amazing here at Disneyland. Now, when Mary Kate originally reached out to me about possibly doing a video, I was really excited because I have learned a lot through social media on various service dogs, especially Molly Burke is one of my big inspirations for this video as well. She's a motivational speaker and has a YouTube channel and shares a lot of her perspective of, you know, assumptions people make and the challenges that service dog teams face just all over. So I was really happy to be able to put together a video on the Disney perspective of this and, you know, shed some light, because I feel like we all can be more educated, more aware, and it really helps to improve the experiences of everybody. And I really hope you enjoyed today's video. I know I really enjoyed it and also gained a lot of insight and knowledge over this weekend and also in that interview. Make sure to follow the social media links below and check them out. And I will see you again soon. I hope you have the best day ever. Bye!
There's
Yeah,
quite a few
ducks.
ducks.
Disney ducks. They're not trained.
She really wants the damn food. Okay, book her.
Oh, my brain is rewinding. Exactly. Let's see.
Once more, the feeling.
Oh, my arm. And of course the train has to interrupt me again. And of course the train comes by and then my battery dies. I figured to get a kick out of it. The universe hates me.